Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our first live stream. And I don't know, a year, 9 months, something like that. I've missed you all. I'm sure you've missed me, all one or two of you who are right now on the live, but I know you'll jump in quickly. And I am excited because I get to have with me as we voyage back into the world of live streams, my friend Steve Watts. Steve, how are you today?
Fantastic. I'm excited to be here. Whether it's just the two of us or a million people dialing in, it's going to be a good time.
When I was playing in a band, I remember we were interviewed once by some college newspaper, and we said the trick to being in a band is to play music you like, because there's a good chance that you're the only person showing up for the show, so you might as well amuse yourself. Right. But thank you for diving in. And this is actually part of a program we're putting together throughout the month of September, where I'm talking to some of my favorite networking buddies about networking, because September 30th, we do have the release of the second edition of Networking in the 21st Century, Why Your Network Sucks and What to Do About It, and the third edition of Networking in the 21st Century on LinkedIn. So I figured this would be a fun way to kind of get things underway. So to that end, I've got one question I want to kick us off. We're only going to take about 10, 12 minutes on this, but Steve, you're definitely a very connected individual, great networker. We met networking first in LinkedIn and then brought it into kind of the non-LinkedIn world. But my question for you is, what one activity in your career has had the biggest impact on the quality of your network?
Right. I'm going to take that I'm going to twist that just a little bit.
Go for it.
I don't know that it's so much an activity as more of a mindset. It's a philosophy. It's an approach, which I guess then leads to an activity. And that's stand for something, believe something, and publicly espouse something. Sometimes people approach me like, hey, let's network. Let's not. Honestly, right, no offense, right. But let's not. I'm not here to network per se. I'm here to further my interests and my business and my career, and you are as well. And when I stand for something and I publicly take a stand and express a credible point of view, it attracts the right people towards me, and we just naturally fall into mutually interesting and mutually valuable conversations. And it's not to say that what you stand for can't change. Like it shouldn't change every day. It's not like changing your socks, right? But it's not like it has to be fixed forever. When I think back over the past 5 or 6 years, I'm probably in the third phase of what I kind of publicly stand for. Back 5 or 6 years ago, it was really about account-based marketing. It was really about, your conventional, the way you're doing marketing now is inefficient and ineffective. Let me tell you why. Right. And that was hugely valuable for me in terms of what I learned, who I met, how it grew my career and grew my businesses. Then it sort of evolved into more about content marketing and like free your content, ungate your content, throw out the old playbooks. That was very effective. Now I'm really focused on enterprise social engagement and this massive missed opportunity that so many organizations are not empowering and enabling their people to show up. And if they do, they're doing it kind of in the wrong ways, and they're destroying trust and everything. So I publicly and loudly stand for these things. And then that way, if those are things that are interesting and relevant to you, it pulls you towards me. And if they're not, then it doesn't. Great. Let's not waste each other's time. So that's my fundamental thing. Stand for something.
I love that. And I want to put a wrinkle there, because I think you said something powerful, which is the idea of point of view. And it's, I think sometimes people might mishear you when you say stand for something, meaning you have to have this big social goal or political. That's not what I'm hearing you're saying. What you're really saying is have a perspective, have a point of view, have a goal, try to, like what you're talking about, like I'm trying to accomplish something, and have it be something that you're putting out there into the world, that, hey, I'm working towards this and I've got a point of view on this. I've got a perspective on this. And I want to engage with people who can help with that, or make it more nuanced, or even maybe disagree with me, so that we can kind of synthesize our ideas and come up with an even better solution. Is that right? Is that what I'm hearing?
That is right. I'm not going to cure world hunger. I'm not going to cure cancer. You know, like you don't need to change the world. But what do you like? What do you believe is wrong with your industry or your profession? What do you believe is a missed or an unseen opportunity in your industry, in your profession? You know, what do you wish people understood that they don't presently understand? What are you having tremendous success with, and what are you frustrated with? Like these sorts of things is what I mean by having a point of view. And hopefully it's a credible point of view. Hopefully it comes from a place of experience. But it doesn't mean you need to, like, I never say like, oh, I'm the expert in this. Not at all. It's like, these are things that I believe, and these are things that I find effective, and where I see lots of other people being effective, and where I see lots of other people running into trouble.
Yeah,
I believe that if we approach these things differently, we would have better outcomes. And that's what I mean. Yeah. And one thing that's important, you know, because I know some people are going to go, well, I know what I believe. I believe you should buy my thing. You should buy what I sell. Like, it's really important that when I say stand for something and have a point of view, it has to transcend what you sell. It's okay if they're aligned. It's good. Like,
they should be aligned, right?
It is aligned. Yeah. It is aligned. But your point of view can't be buy my thing, or you're just pitching. Right. You know, I think it's an important thing that if you listen to what I preach and what I talk about on podcasts and what I read, you can learn from that. You can apply it in your business, and you can have better outcomes without ever buying anything from my company.
Yep.
Now, of course, if you do buy something from my company, it'll help you do it, you know, more efficiently, more effectively, more measurably, but you don't have to. And that's important. Otherwise, you're not standing for something, you're just pitching.
Well, and I love what you're sharing there, because it is this idea of having a conversation, right? You know, one thing that I know is important to you, is very important to me, is that networking is really about relationships, right? Relationships happen over time. They happen like when you share information, or, you know, just, I said conversation. I mean, some of the best networking partners are people where I've never sold them anything. And that was never the intent. That was never the goal. But they're people, for example, and this I suggest all the time to professionals: network with your competition. You know, not because you're trying to like get, you know, their secret sauce or divulge all of yours, but they're people that think about often your point of view as well, right? They're thinking about the same challenges and opportunities that you are. And you know, hey, not all of your competition is going to become your best friend, but sometimes, I mean, hey, I love hanging out with other sales, you know, consultants or trainers or thought leaders, whatever you want to call them, and LinkedIn people, because they make my thinking better. Like, that's actually really good networking, because also there's times where I'm like, hey, I can't help you with this, but you should go talk to my friend Robert, or you should talk to my friend Vivica. Conversely, I've gotten calls, hey D, they need help from you, not me. Right. And that's actually when you know you're doing good networking, not just, as you said, just trying to get out there and pitch more, right?
Yeah. There's so much to be learned from each other. There's so many ways we can help each other directly or indirectly. And every conversation and every relationship sort of sharpens your own toolkit and broadens your horizons. And just back to what I said at the beginning, I just don't have time, and nor do you, and nor does anybody, to have a bunch of like random conversations with random people about nothing of consequence. And that's why I started out by saying, like, no, let's not network. If the goal, the goal to me is not to network. The goal, like, networking is a means to an end.
Right.
You know, the end is learning and growing and elevating our careers and elevating our businesses and all these things. And having the right conversations with the right people absolutely helps in that. But the shortcut to having the right conversations with the right people is to publicly stand for something. Pull the right people in and let everyone else go, yeah, that guy's not interesting to me, and off they go. Fantastic. We're both better off.
Well, and it's interesting you say that, because here's a wrinkle I'll throw in there. And it is actually predicated on your idea of having a point of view or a perspective. I will sometimes reach out and ask people to network. You know, I don't say, hey, let's network. Or conversely, I'll sometimes accept a well-stated invitation to have a conversation, even if there's not an immediate reason why we should connect or chat, if I see something like that alignment in what we're working towards, right? And I think that that's also where people often make a mistake, because they think networking or having conversations, especially with new networking partners, is, hey, there's some obvious collaboration. There's some obvious sales opportunities. Or, I would even say the first time we had a face-to-face conversation, we uncovered opportunities, but I don't think we walked in going, oh, hey, there's some definite places where, Steve and Dee are going to work together. It was actually during the course of that conversation where we were like, oh, wait, we could work on this together, or we could work on that together.
True.
But we were very aligned.
We both publicly stand for better ways to sell, better ways to market, better ways to build social engagement. So we kind of, because of our public stance, we each knew something about each other. And we exactly thought, you know what, this is probably worth my time.
Exactly. And I love how you say it's worth my time. Like when somebody reaches out to probably either one of us and just like, hey, can we talk? You're like,
hey, can I pick your brain?
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's network.
Right.
Hey, let's uncover synergies.
Oh, do people actually say that to you?
They do. They do.
My
they
gosh.
really do.
Like, luckily, I don't get that one. I don't know. I'm not in the marketing world or something.
It's like, no offense, but no.
But if somebody, so let's give a best practice here. If somebody would reach out to one of us and was like, hey, I see you're doing a lot in, the sales world or scaling social, or you're on LinkedIn a lot. I'm in that space as well. Or, hey, I've been trying to, I'm a sales leader who's been trying to figure out how to do this with my organization. Can we grab 30 minutes? There's a pretty good chance, I'll say yes, right?
I
don't know,
and I would say
I'd be like, okay,
the price of entry though is, have you invested like a bit of time in reading what I'm publishing stuff almost every day, like you are, right?
Right.
So it's like, if you're going to ask me for 30 minutes of my time, I want to know that you've spent at least 5 or 10 minutes reading the stuff that I'm already publicly putting out there. Because then it's far more sincere, right? If it's like, hey, in your post yesterday, you talked about this, and in your post last week, you talked about that, and I agree with this, and I'm having trouble agreeing with that, and I'm struggling with this thing over here. Would you be willing to chat with me a little bit about it? That's an
100%.
Easy yes for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you wanted to talk to any kind of content creator, somebody who's like both you and I putting stuff out there, and by the way, we make it very easy. This, I think, can also be used when you're trying to get in touch with somebody who might not be creating as much content. We all kind of are in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a post or, putting stuff out on social, whatever it might be. But yeah, if somebody indicates that they've read, and actually say like, hey, I saw this line in this post, or I read this article, or I watched this live stream. You said this, here's how I think about it. Man, you've just stroked my ego. Of course I'm going to give you time. It's an easy way to get into my schedule.
And I know you're sincere now because you actually spent some time to read. So then when you say, I want to learn from you, I want to discuss this with you, I want your perspective on this, whatever it is, I actually believe that you're sincere,
right?
Because you read some stuff that I've put out there, and you're coming at it from that. Absent that, I'm skeptical. Like, this sounds like a veiled sales pitch coming. It sounds like something that, like, a bit of a bait and switch here.
Yeah, somebody.
So if you really want to engage people, invest the time in what they're already saying.
Somebody sent me a message on LinkedIn the other day. It was like, hey, I really liked your post yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that you didn't read anything, right?
Yeah.
It's like the old fortune readers. They're just giving you something that sounds like it's plausible, but you're like, that's not plausible.
Yeah.
Awesome. We knew this time would fly. We're already at 15 minutes. I promised everybody that they wouldn't have more than 15 minutes. If you want to continue the conversation with Steve, he is very active on LinkedIn. You should be following him. He's got great ideas just on how to share a message, how to be sincere, authentic, and build relationships. So definitely go ahead. I'm going to throw you out there. Steve, follow him. And if you want to talk to him, read a couple of his posts and reference them. And of course, everybody, the new editions of Networking in the 21st Century and Networking in the 21st Century on LinkedIn, those are going to be out September 30th, right on Amazon. So make sure you get ready to get those. We'll be back next week with some more of my favorite networking partners. Steve, thank you so much. And everybody, have a great day. Bye.
It's been a pleasure. Have a wonderful day, everyone.